Well, there's something a little bit more going on here, so what we thought we'd come down and speak to Joe and Norm. Norm's driving. We're going to go into the garage where those guys actually created this to find out a little bit more. So let's go and have a look and speak to the guys. So as you can see, just behind me, the insane Datsun by Norm and Joe. Armin's actually inside there, revving the engine up. Just about to go for a little drive on the farm. Should be fun to see how it works. Let's see what happens. So, you've just had a little drive of this. How did it feel?
That's all I can say. It's like speechless. It's amazing.
I mean, does it drive like a normal car? I mean, it looks...
Well, like a normal car. Yes, in a way it does. If you consider this is an automatic without power steering, yes. It is a normal inverted commas car.
I'm joking right now. I got the pump in my face. Well,
yes.
This is pretty cool. So I think what we're going to do now is go upstairs, back to the place, and here we go.
You're probably going to want to chop this up too.
So welcome guys, obviously we have Norm on the right and Joe on the left, so thank you for inviting us.
It's a pleasure.
You guys, you know, we met you guys at Promotion Swap Meet last week and we were just parking up, Carmen and I, and all of a sudden we just heard this incredible sound from behind, and this incredible machine, which you guys can just see as I'm panning here, came behind us, and we're just like really curious of what it was about. But before we dive into that, we'd like to find out about you two gentlemen, as in, where does your love for cars and creation of building machines come from? I don't know which one of you gentlemen want to start first, but it'd be nice to find out.
Well, I started my career of building things when I was in the 3rd grade. I had a pen repair business.
I think his mother helped him a lot.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah, I've just always loved cars. Raced stock cars for a short time when I was young. And just I built so many road cars. I had a Barracuda that I put a 383 Chrysler in. It was a monster. I built an old mail truck, a tiny mail truck. I put a 383 in that. I had a Nova. I put a 361 Chrysler in that. Just always had a car. Always had a fast car, you know, fun car.
That's cool.
57 Chevy with a 396, on and on. And anyway, I'm in New Hampshire during the summers and here during the winter. And I love diesels. Been around diesels all my life. I have, I don't know, I guess half a dozen diesel engines back in New Hampshire I need to bring out here and build something on.
No, you need to leave them there.
He'll up my rent. I bring more stuff.
So, obviously, how did you guys meet as well? I mean, obviously, find out about yourself, Joe, in terms of your background, but how did you guys meet as well?
We met at church. Norm was the drummer at the church.
Really?
And he would play These Are the Days of Elijah real loud We'd be out in the parking lot talking, and it was time to come in and go to church when he'd start playing the drums.
That's crazy. How long ago was that?
At least 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow, so you've been friends for a long time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's cool. And so how do you come into this in the car side as well?
Well, he became a heavy-duty mobile mechanic. I worked very young in an automotive machine shop building engines, and then my dad got sick. He needed an operation. He asked me, would you drive my dump truck? He was an owner-operator for 2 weeks. Well, here it is 40 years later.
Seriously?
Seriously, yes.
Wow. So obviously you guys seem to come to this place, which is incredible. There's like things everywhere around here.
Oh, yes.
To build stuff just as and when you feel like it. And I assume, I mean, I'm trying to get how this thing here got from nothing to being this today. I mean, how did it come about, the
Take
idea?
a look at that motorhome. We're going to have to cut it
Okay.
up in pieces. That's where a lot
let's
of the
turn
stuff
around
came
here.
from. It's not drivable.
There's Carmen filming. So this motorhome, so what was going on here? So parts of the motorhome is in this?
The rear end, the differential, is in this. The rear springs are in this. The transmission from that motorhome is in the Triple D. We call it the
And
Triple D.
The motor is in that Chrysler 71-300 out of this motorhome.
So there's a car obviously way back there, Chrysler, which is
Brown.
obviously.
Yeah, older one.
And so how did you come to getting these parts, and then you've mated a Datsun 240 with an industrial engine and these insane huge rear wheels and tires? I mean, where did the idea come from to go, do you know what, I'm just going to build this today? I mean, how did that come about? Dare I ask?
These things just pop into my head. They really
Okay.
do. They just pop into my head. I'm going to build something. This 280Z was sitting out in a field. I went out to work on the lady's tractor that owned it, and the weeds were growing up through it. The trees were growing up through it. And I asked her what she was ever going to do with it. She says, oh, I don't know, I want to get rid of it. You know anybody that'll come and take it? And I was out there putting a tractor tire, a used tractor tire, on her tractor. And I said, I'll trade the tractor tire for that. So
No way.
the 280Z cost me $50.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So if you both could walk us through this, I think starting with the front,
Yep.
because the engine is quite something interesting, and if we walk through, if you guys can just show us first and foremost what is this engine and where it came from, because it's just crazy.
It's a 6-cylinder Deutz air-cooled diesel. It came from an irrigation pump. It sat out in the field irrigating
Farmers' fields.
farmers' fields.
Wow, no way.
And they would go out and start this thing up, walk away from it, and leave it for a week or two, and it would just run and run and run. It has probably about a 200-gallon fuel tank under it,
Wow, okay.
and it would just sit out in the field and run,
Just run
all
all
by
day.
itself.
And so I'm guessing that when you picked up the Datsun, the engine was basically done and dusted, and so you thought, well, what do we do next? Is that kind of how it went, or?
Yeah, there was a junkyard in Paris, California that sold parts, and I used to go in there once in a while and find parts. And I saw these two engines sitting there, and
Okay.
I've had experience with Deutz diesels. They're amazing engines. They are so tough. And I saw two of them sitting there, and I asked him what he wanted for them. And I think he started at like $5,000. And I said,
Okay.
well, if you let me start them up, I might do that. So I started that one. That one started up fine and ran great.
Mm-hmm.
This one I started up and it threw oil out, and it was a runaway.
Okay.
It means it was over revving. It would have revved
It would have
as
destroyed
far
itself.
as to kill itself. Yeah.
He knew starting up a diesel engine, you had to have something to choke it off.
Yep.
And it was a big piece of styrofoam, and he choked
So I
it
shut
off
it down.
to save it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because
And-
it was wide open.
the tr-
Not wide open. It was
Yeah.
worse than wide open. It was
Really bad.
On its way to
that-
break itself.
Yeah, this injection pump was rusted the first time. I think
Okay.
number 5 came up. It jammed, and it made all other cylinders more than above and beyond the governor, and he saved it.
So how'd you get this running? I mean, obviously there's a gearbox somewhere. We saw, I saw you guys drive it, so there's got to be something. It's obviously not the Datsun one, really, is it?
That's his.
That's a whole
his specialty.
story too.
Okay, so what did you guys get? What else did you donor from?
Well, and on this engine, the turbo was seized also when I got
see.
it. So I went back to the guy and I said, you know what, this engine probably is just parts. And I know that one's good, but this one's probably just parts. So anyway, he took $22.50 for it, for the two of them. So, and anyway, so Joe and I each have one now at
Okay.
$11.25 a piece.
That's pretty cool.
That's a pretty cool price for a good engine. So this one I rebuilt the injector pump.
Okay.
Pretty
Rebuilt
brutally.
it. $1,200 to $1,600 for a rebuilt one. We did our best to destroy that, but somehow we did not destroy it. And we found number 5 was stuck. And I went up and got my rifle cleaning stuff for a 30-30, and he honed it out, got the rust out, got it working, and it runs good.
It runs
That's
great,
insane. So the gearbox. What is the gearbox? I'm curious.
The gearbox is a Chrysler 727. It came out of that motorhome,
So Dick
as
Miller.
well as the rear end. Yep. And
Wow.
I mated it up to the Deutz, hooked put the torque converter on, centered it. That was kind of a trick, but I got the torque converter centered.
First time he put it on, fired it up, he said the engine was shaking all over. And he had enough slack in the holes to get it to where it runs smooth. And then he tack welded all the bolts in so they would not loosen up.
Fair enough.
Then I took the engine and I stood it on end. So this was on the ground. It was standing on end. And I set the transmission down onto it and then made adapter plate bolts.
Wow.
Not a big round adapter plate. He
Right here.
did 2 bolts at a time.
I don't know if you can see that.
Let's have a little look.
Right there is the adapter plate. Those
Dark, but I
blocks.
can see. Yeah, I think I can probably see it.
Yep. They're just blocks.
So
It's not the first transmission he's hooked up to something that don't belong to it.
well, it works. I mean, we heard it fine. And
Yeah.
could you turn it on? I think people may want to hear what it sounds like. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Amazing. So while Norman steps inside, I'm going to get a little bit closer.
Are you ready?
Oh yeah, let's.
Let's
get around this side to show you guys. Oh yeah, let's rev it up. Let's do it. Okay, let's see how this thing. Oh my god, that sounds insane.
That whistle is the turbo.
Wow, this thing's insane. That's crazy. So let's have a look inside as well, I'm curious. The inside of the interior, let's have a look inside. So as you can see here, so this is literally, you chop the front of this Datsun off.
Yes, I did. The fenders are over there in a pile.
I got, let's have a look. Oh, there's a
one
little,
of them right there.
there you go, a little pile right down there. That's where the fenders ended up residing.
This is the engine out of it.
Let's go back here. Ah, there's the original
again.
engine.
That's the original engine and transmission.
Ah, there you
We took
go.
all the, or Dort took all the electronic stuff off, and he put carburetors off a Corvair on there.
Oh, so
Haven't
cool.
fired it yet, but we're going to.
Well, I'm curious to see what this goes into next. I'm sure there'll be something quite special from you two guys to
It'll
put
go in
this together.
something.
Oh,
Maybe a
crazy.
wheelbarrow or a bicycle, I don't know.
Well, let's have a look. I mean, it's pretty much almost stock, I guess, in a way, with a few, not so many upgrades, more of ripping things out. And
I think we chased a few of the spiders out.
Yeah.
I bet there's so many more things.
Mice, chickens, whatever
chickens and
else.
everything. And then these enormous rear
Now
wheels
truck
and tires.
are made as duals. You bolt another tire dished out this way, and to carry the weight.
Yep.
But in order to make it fit, he had to dish this one in. And if you go over here and look at the other one,
Oh, let's have a look.
it's dished out.
Oh, well, I'll be damned, yes. That's true. Huh.
And then we had to cut the rims out of the motorhome and make holes. So it's got a dual bolt pattern. It's got an 8-lug motorhome and a 10-lug bud. So it's literally got 18 lug bolts on it, which we don't need that many. It's missing quite a few over here. It's not carrying no weight no more.
That's insane. I mean, just look at the back of this thing. It's just like watching it drive around the road with these fat tires is just out of this world. And I'm very curious. I mean, you've got down here Datsun, if I pronounce it right, Deutz Dodge, is that right? Deutz.
Datsun, Deutz, Dodge.
Ah, so explain to us, guys. I mean, I know that you mentioned, Joe, something to me earlier on, but I'm curious. What is? I mean, it's all made out of parts. When I see some tools in there,
Yeah,
I'm curious.
tools and whatever was laying around.
And this.
Yeah, we had a fire in '93. My whole shop burnt down. My tools were ruined. I couldn't throw them away. They're over there. And Norm got in there and started bending and cutting. These are just old tools that went through a heat where you can't use them no more.
So you decided to create this cool little signing out of something that wasn't that great.
This was a big wrench. There's another half wrench. Here's a monkey wrench. Another monkey wrench.
Part of a vice grip here, and
That's so cool.
yeah,
Wow.
that's part of the suspension off your Peterbilt.
Oh yeah.
The A.
Okay, yeah,
You guys definitely like utilize everything you've got. Every part you've got around, you'll salvage and create something amazing out of this.
It all came from the garden here.
And you know what? I think.
You know, Cameron was talking about the steerings real hard. Well, this came out of a Suzuki, a 4-door Suzuki, and Norm, it's my son-in-law's. It's leaking, and Norm's maybe going to hook that up and put power steering.
That'll be the power steering.
That's insane. I mean, you guys definitely have an eye for like finding something to create out almost anything. Doesn't matter what it is. You guys have got that creative side
Well,
of you.
this
that
is
really
my trailer
bring
is scrap iron. You know, we picked through that thing.
Let us scrap out from the iron. I mean, this is cool. It's
You
like,
can't throw it away. You can always figure out a use for it.
it reminds me, like, because I come from England, and obviously Carmen lives in England with me too, that the rag and bone man, they used to call them back in the day. And there used to be a gentleman with a truck, a pickup truck, used to go around the town, and they would just get rag bone, and they shout really loud, and any old scrap and iron, people would just give them for free. And then you could go to a rag bone shop, and it's like, it ends up being like a junkyard, and you could create almost anything.
Oh, they wouldn't scrap it out for scrap iron price. They'd take it and sell it.
Take it, sell it,
Oh,
and then
okay.
some guys would
Well,
go
that's
in there
good.
and
I like that. Now,
parts
we have
and
the
create.
same thing here, and they would, we'll pay you money for your old scrap iron, but they take all your good stuff too if you weren't watching them.
Yeah, that's what they tend to do. Like, yeah, what about that over there, buddy? That's true. So,
There's just one thing I want to mention, because we've spoken about that in the car, that the engine is so heavy,
Yes.
and it didn't quite work with the
This-
back end, because
right.
that is very light, really. The Datsun isn't that heavy in itself. So what did you do to overcome that?
For the front
2 or 3
suspension.
tries.
I absolutely believe that.
Well, when we get around to the front of the car, I'll show you what I did to
Okay.
sure, well, if you want to show us now,
strengthen
let's do it.
the front.
Sure. Let's go and have a look, because, yeah, it's a very good point, actually. I didn't really think of that at the beginning. It's true. I mean, it's like light car, enormous.
For me, when I was driving it, that was the one thing I thought, hang on, I'm sitting in this lightweight, not really metal chassis. That engine doesn't look like exactly a lightweight.
No,
So
it's-
how
it's-
does that actually not collapse? Because if you, all physics taking it into account, that should go like literally into 2 pieces.
That's true.
So I was asking, how does that work? What did you do? So
Okay,
he
well.
did explain it to me.
Yeah,
and
well-
I really was impressed.
For the frame, I had these 2x4 steel that I ran the length of the car to stiffen everything and give it
I
strength.
see.
This front suspension is from the 280Z, and of course it was way too light. So what I did, I'll jack it up here a little bit so you see.
Coil strings couldn't carry all that.
Underneath, I put a cross leaf spring across, and just chained them on the ends,
Oh my God, yes.
and that gives it more strength holding the front end up.
Yeah, and this tube steel runs all the way back, and he drilled, bolted, welded, actually went through the back seat and wrapped chains around. And this right here, this thing was kind of twisted. It was kind of a problematic thing. So he welded this on so we have leverage to straighten it out and weld it.
Oh, brilliant. That's incredible. Amazing work, guys.
Yeah.
The fenders were $20 at the Big Three swap meet
In San Diego.
in San Diego, and this headlight set also was $20. So
So do you know what these are from originally?
These are fiberglass.
fiberglass, so they're
and we've seen
fiberglass.
2 or 3 of them down there.
they're kind of Model A.
Yeah, I was just
style.
wondering if it was
knockoffs.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I was wondering if it was originals like that.
I think these were probably custom off some hot rod, but they're just, basic 30s headlights.
And this is the original air cleaner off the water pumper. It's it doesn't have it's oil cool or oil bath.
Gotcha.
You take this off, you dump the oil out, clean the dirt out,
Yep.
put new oil in. It's
It's
just not, you
insane.
don't change the filter. You change the oil.
For everyone who is actually interested, it is street legal.
It is street
I
legal.
was checking. It is street legal. It will be.
Oh, as you say,
It's
I
not
think
registered
it was.
yet. Sorry, it's not
Okay.
registered yet.
Registered.
But it is street legal, so you can drive it on the road.
I mean, seeing this
we gotta
driving.
get the lights working.
Yeah, they might have to say, well, it's illegal, but. So,
Bright lights and turn
Street
signals.
legal with a little bit more work.
so is this like the finished thing, or do you guys still have a
It's
few?
close. Well, I'm going to put rear fenders on.
Okay.
I'm going to put rear fenders on. That's about it. Oh, I'm going to make this hatch. I'm going to make this removable.
Okay.
So I can put a couple of chairs or a small love seat or something back there so I can have passengers riding up in the back.
Oh, that's going to be a thrill, I'll tell you. Especially on the freeway. I mean, that's just going to be incredible.
No, I was thinking more of the dirt road.
Oh, yeah. Well, amazing.
No one lose none of the family.
No, that's true.
Probably have about $1,500 in this car at the most.
Yep.
And this is the side that took all the money. There's $100 and there's $100, but the rest is.
Oh, anything else?
He did buy a vacuum pump for the
Oh,
brakes.
that's right, my vacuum pump. Yeah, I think that was
Maybe
about
another
60.
160
Yeah,
bucks.
yeah, for the power to give it power brakes.
Amazing.
Because before it didn't have power brakes,
Yeah, so
and you had to.
stopping
stand
this
on
would not be that simple then.
But it stops good now.
It's
Yeah,
really
we
easy
just
to
bought this at
handle.
Pomona where we met you guys.
Ah,
I hate having chrome on this, but I guess.
So we left
That's
it
all
all
they had to
nasty with
sell.
our dirty fingers and didn't wipe the chrome off.
gotta keep it looking rough and ready. That's cool. And it's worth $1 million by the looks of that
to
side.
me.
To you guys,
To
it's
me
worth
it
$1 million.
I reckon if you got cash in the pocket, come down a notch or two, he'll let it go.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you.
your
So nice
story.
to have you guys here.
Same here. Thank you so much,
Tony,
sir.
yeah, it
Pleasure.
was.
Did we mention that Carmen
It was
drove
nice
this
to run
thing?
into you guys.
It is. Yeah, it
Or
was,
do we want to mention that?
yeah, you did. So how did
I
you feel?
did.
I was so proud of you.
I have to say, I have not been driving an automatic before, so that was a total new thing to me. Now, automatic is not the most difficult to drive, as you know, but driving automatic and power steering and the seat is not 100% where I need to be. I'm quite short.
How does it feel though? I mean, it's got like, it's dipping at the front, it sticks up at the back. How does that feel?
It feels good. It just needs, like every car, you need to get used to it a little bit, need to, figure out the mechanics around it, how quickly do you turn, where, and it's done.
Cool.
It's really good. I felt comfortable after just a few riffs.
Awesome.
That was awesome.
Yes. But you can ask Norm how I did. He was sitting next to me.
She did spectacular. Careful you don't.
Oh, yeah, catching the
Hate
camera
to
there.
see it.
Yeah, camera's gonna drop. Oh, it breaks.
No, she did great. That was so much fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they had a lady drive it at the swap meet also, and I really like
Australia, yeah.
sharing these things, So
That's cool.
We asked
So
her what brings you here to Pomona, and she says, "Cause."
and she enjoyed the ride, obviously.
Oh yeah,
Of
yeah.
course
I
she
thought Norm got out, got in the passenger seat. She drove, and I thought I was on my own. They took off.
That's cool.
Brilliant.
So there you have it, guys. Joe and Norm sharing this insane creation, part Datsun tractor, engine, trailer home. It's just like an insane creation, but we admire what they've done here. It's something amazing. How you can create something out of almost anything to be something outrageous. And I think actually stole the show at the swap meet, because everywhere we went, everyone was like, whoa, check it out. And every other car was just like, yes, all news. So there you have it. Crazy as ever. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.